31% increase. Just by being positive and encouraging. 31% more productivity meant, well, about 100% more income for me. So selfishly, I'm not trying to make this an altruistic thing. Very selfishly, I began to be more positive and encouraging. Now, to be clear, no, I didn't put on a big fake smile and walk around like a goober, slapping all the guys on the butt and giving everyone the wink in the gun. If you don't know what the wink in the gun is, by the way, again, go to mattmcwilliams.com/team productivity. And I've got a thing about Carlton. Remember him from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air doing the wink in the gun. Anywho, there were no grand speeches or big announcements about this. I'm going to be more positive and encouraging. At first, it was very subtle, lest my team think that my body had been overtaken by some kinder, gentler aliens. I simply started holding my tongue when I wanted to lash out at someone in public. I made sure to encourage one or two people publicly each day. And I wrote at least one thank you note each week. That was it to start. I also learned during this time that my praise and recognition is more motivating than money. More motivating than money? I mean, wasn't everyone else on the face of this earth driven by a financial scorecard like me? Well, apparently not. Not according to the book Why We Do What We Do by Edward Deci. And again, I've got a link to that at mattmcwilliams.com/team productivity. Deci points out that when a leader is specific with this praise, he points out a specific customer call or compliments him on a particular project. When he does that, when the praise is specific, the emotional lift is almost as high as getting a large bonus. And when that specificity is paired with the deliberate delivery, such as a presentation or an announcement or even a card, it becomes more motivating than money. I mean, that's crazy. More motivating than money. I mean, what could be more motivating than money? Well, apparently, praise, recognition, especially when it's done right. And when done consistently, recognition and praise creates an unbeatable sense of loyalty and drives teams to unimaginable levels of performance. Now, creative recognition works best. Let's talk about why awards transform cultures. A private thank you email or card is great. Praising someone in front of others is even better. But do you know what transforms a culture? It's creative recognition, particularly huge, gaudy awards and trophies. So take, for instance, the Danish auto parts company, the Kjær Group. And I have no idea if I pronounce that right. It's Kjer. So if any of you out there are Danish, if you could let me know how to pronounce that, Kjer. Anyway, this auto parts company from Denmark, they modeled their award after the highest order in Denmark, the Order of the Elephant. But theirs is not some fancy crest given by the Queen. It's this giant stuffed animal. It's this huge elephant, like the one that my daughter has. She's not even 3 yet. And any team member can give it to another for doing something extraordinary. So what happens when someone is awarded the elephant? What's the same 3 things that happen when any award is given like this? First, as you might expect, the recipient is elated. I mean, this is obvious. The recipient is rewarded and is more motivated. I mean, if you've ever received an award, you of course you know what this is like. You're ecstatic, especially when you've received that award in front of your peers and colleagues. And second, the behavior is reinforced in the recipient. I mean, naturally, being rewarded for something reinforces that behavior. That's instilled in us when we're children. The sight and the remembrance of the elephant, for example, will drive the recipient to continue that behavior. And then they're going to start to think of new ways to excel in the future. So first of all, the recipient is excited and more motivated. And then secondly, the second of the three things is that behavior is reinforced in the recipient. And the third thing that these gaudy and huge awards do for a company and that transform the culture is it creates stories and it creates best practices that are shared. Alexander Werwolf, I'm having a hard time with names today. Alexander Gerwolf, Kjerulf. Yeah, these Danish names, I think he's probably Danish. They're throwing me off today. He writes about the elephant in his book, Happy Hours 9 to 5. Again, there's a link to that at mattmcwilliams.com/team productivity. In it, he writes that when other team members notice the elephant, you might expect this, but this is what changes cultures. They immediately say, well, hey, you got the elephant. What'd you do? And that triggers a story, which is essentially a sharing of best practices. And these stories build up over time, and they spread, and they are retold for years and years. And recipients become legends, and the culture changes for the better. You know, when I was in college, I'm thinking like 2000-ish, 99, 2000, 2001. I did some things. I played golf in college. I was on the golf team, and I did some things that I'm not particularly proud of. And one of them involved that I was angry at a particular shot, and I kind of swung my club at this hose that was in the fairway. This hose had blocked my tee shot from going farther, so I was probably 40 or 50 yards behind where I should have been. I was angry at this hose, and whoever left it there. And I swung my club at it, and it got wrapped up in the club. Well, anyway, it yanked the hose out of the drain. It yanked it straight up. And no joke, there's a 40-foot geyser shooting up in the middle of the fairway. Well, some guys on my team were on the hole before, including one of my best friends. We're still friends today, and we're doing some business together now. And, I mean, he literally fell down on the ground. He saw this, knew that it was me, and he fell face down with his golf bag on his back on the ground in laughter. Well, the funny thing is that was 14 years ago, and it helps, yes, that the coach now at that school it was a teammate of mine in college. He's the golf coach now, but that story is still told today. And that's not the kind of culture that Middle Tennessee State's golf team is trying to create. That's not the point. It's just a funny story, and we had so many more that are shared today from our team. But that's the kind of thing that happens when the recipients of awards, they become legendary within a company. And what they did changes the culture for the better. I mean, who would have ever thought that a simple stuffed toy could do such a powerful thing like change a company's culture? But that is the power of creative recognition. And in case you didn't know, all of this that I've talked about applies to your family and your friends as well. It applies to your kids. It applies to your spouse. Get creative with them in recognizing what they're doing that's positive. All right, so it's time for today's action item. Today's action item, if you want 31% more from your team, if you want 31% more of something from your kids, your family, then start getting creative with your recognition. If you want more done in less time and want to save on future labor costs or save on future discipline with your kids, then value the people you have today and motivate them with praise. Value what your kids do today and motivate them with praise.